Hello! Hello YouTube. It's time for me to tell you a little story. Today I'm going to tell you a little story, a World of Warcraft story. I've decided to share this story from over the years, as I will do so in future videos. Today's subject is Little Jimmy. Now, Little Jimmy is an old friend of mine who stopped playing World of Warcraft back in Pandaria, I think. And he was never good at it. He was actually pretty shit. Now, Little Jimmy is the topic of today. And the topic of this specific video would be the story of how he finally got the Kingslayer achievement and the title in Wrath of the Lich King. It was late Wrath expansion, and our group of friends who were hanging out on Raid Call at the time, we were in different guilds, played with different raid times, played with different people. We decided, hey, let's go help Jimmy. So we banded together and let's get him that achievement that eluded him for months. So, as all stories go, we got on a Friday evening, drink in hand, and as any teenager with no social life, we started playing the game. We got a group of 10 people, Jimmy on the healer spot, and me solo healing the entire raid. Now, a bit of context before we go into everything else. It is very important to note that Jimmy was absolutely dogshit at the game, and he was very, very obsessed with playing paladins. His very first character was a paladin, and he decided that he's going to stack intellect, or intelligence for those who don't know, to make his character smarter. Big brain move. And he really, really liked paladins. He was so bad at it that it would be like having a chimpanzee break both of his arms, break both of his legs, pluck out his brain, and let him play. But that's a story for another time. There's going to be more. And then, Icecrown Citadel. We got to the first boss, Lord Maroga. Now, the main mechanic of this boss fight is the blue line that does damage to you and the spike that you need someone else to DPS it down for you. Guess who did it? Who got spiked and never said a word? If you guessed Jimmy, you were correct. He was dead in the first 20 seconds. Of course, after watching the guide, he thought by standing in the fire would deal the damage to the spikes and deal with the problem with quickly. Now, we killed Marogar and went on to Lady Death Whisper, the next boss, the second one. Before we even got to do the boss fight, Jimmy dies to lack of healing on the ads. How is that a possibility? Nobody ever knew. We never figured it out. At this point, we found out that he was using wrong talents, wrong spells, wrong everything. He has no helping add-ons to heal, like a heal bot for example, or anything else that will help him set up for a healer. The poor boy was clicking everything. Clicking, and clicking. Clicking on someone. Not the raid frame, on someone. The character. And then clicking the spell. Oh no. Oh no. We spent real long time to get him back to what he needs to be. Alright, we got time to kill, so let's do that. We get him up. We grab everything we need. We install the heal add-on, and off we go. We somehow managed to get the boss killed, thanks to the overgeared druid that was solo healing the entire raid. And then we moved on. And that would be Gunship. Oh boy. Now this is where the entire night went from dumbassery to extra dumbassery with pickles on top. So Jimmy had the opportunity to start the fight. And he's gone. My dude randomly disappears. He starts the fight and just goes AFK. Nobody knows where he was. He comes back after 5 minutes. Of course, we wiped at that point, as half the group doesn't have any kind of healing. And when we asked what happened, his answer was, I heard the landline phone ring and went to pick it up. Now, this was back during Wrath of the Lich King, right? So landline phones were still a thing. And yeah, we go again and wipe again. He jumped over the ship and forgot how to jump back. He didn't use the jump rockets and bound them to a hotkey. In fact, he was looking at his gear to take it out and use it then, and he died. So it's a wipe again. Third time the charm, they say, right? No, we wiped again. This time it was not Jimmy. Now, this was two other friends, two cousins, Mickey and Dicky. They were having a fight, but I will do them in a separate video, as these two are a story of their own. Now we pass the gunship somehow and move on to the next boss, Deathbringer Saurfang. This fight was pretty straightforward, and hope and behold, Jimmy didn't die. For Faster got in Rotface, we just told him to go AFK and wipe the boss in a tank and spank fashion. Easy peasy. Now here comes Professor Petrosai, the third boss in that segment of Icecrown Citadel. It was there that I hated the words, I'm a poet and I didn't know it, which the boss would say after killing the two previous bosses in a roleplay, because Jimmy had to start constantly yelling those words. Now, he was so focused on yelling those words and yelling that sentence that he actually managed to die in the second phase to the AoE. He never walked out of the green stuff because he thought that green stuff is good. Moving on to the Blood Priest Council, he actually got an item, but costed him his life as he died and forgot to heal himself. Hence the solo healing of the entire raid by the druid, aka me. When we look at his logs, only one person got his heals, and that was a tank. On Blood Queen Lanatel, the next boss, which had a really interesting mechanic, where you needed to bite another person or you get mind control, we kept him alive mind control just so we could get the achievements for the double bites. Now, Velitra Dreamwalker. This boss took us a very, very long time to kill, as it was basically me healing the whole raid. Now, this was the last expansion I healed properly in a raid group. Sindragosa, it was go left, not that left, the other left. Of course we wiped, until he figured out that which left is left and what is right. And we got to the Lich King. Now this pain of a boss was about 10 wipes or more. What this was is, instead of explaining how he died, I'm just going to list the things he died to. Lack of healing, aggroing the ads, death to defile, big bad evil AoE, in other words, causing a vibe with that same AoE because that AoE spreads if you sit in it, sitting on the edge and getting carried off by a Valkyr, and a mechanic that you need to take care of, standing too close to the boss in transition, which will immediately kill you in a few clicks, and finally falling off the platform because he didn't move on time because he was so focused on healing. I cannot stress enough to any of you that each boss was explained to him and callouts were done throughout just for him specifically, but even that didn't help As for Jimmy, the one thing that mattered more than getting that achievement was going AFK after 10 minutes because something he needed. Around the time we got to Blood Queen, he was arguing with his own mother. Then, for some god knows what reason, his mother picked up the headphones, decided to come argue with us, that we don't need to yell at him, which only caused absolute ridicule. Now, this is the story of Jimmy's one night of raiding. I have many stories to tell, so many people to explain, and many more stupid evenings. Well, that would be all for this video, dear viewer. If you like this, please press the like button, share, subscribe, and you know what to do. What else? Anyways, that's all I got for today. Have a good evening, good night, and stay safe.